Okay, hi everybody, it's me. Not an episode review. As I said before, during the Stray Dogs episode review, this is going to be the start of the anime series reviews. So, the first wave for this week, as far as I know, is going to be this. What I'm reviewing now, Onimai, and Saito. Saito is going to come on Sunday. That's going to be difficult because I got the final episode review of Inspectra and then that. So, but first we start with this. Now, I went on Anime List just for shits and giggles. One person hated it. Now, I can tell you from experience, I think there is a. The further seasons go, and the more saturated the market, as far as I'm concerned, is of anime and mangas and light novels that continue to go down the path of showing the fantasy genre, the more people are going to be like, because at some point you're going to run out of ideas. Like, what can you do next? What other isekai fantasy genre can you do? Storyline. Now, this one I heard about, and I thought, oh, let me give it a watch. To the people who are sick and tired of fantasy animes and isekais, I want to just tell you, listen, this show has merits, though. It's not cookie cutter. It's not the same as all those others. Because it's not an isekai. And it's not like he was reincarnated. It was a guy who was a young kid who was picked up by these sorcerers who were fighting a war. Now, I'm sure down the line there was something like that in anime, for a fantasy anime, but I don't recall. The one I'm talking about, obviously, is the Iceblade Sorcerer Shall Rule the World. Now, I didn't do episode reviews for this because, obvious reasons. I found it interesting because of the MC. Ray White. With a, with a name like that, it's like, huh? But the synopsis is basically saying that he's a commoner and he goes to the Arnold Academy of Sorcery. He's met with the contempt of some of the students hailing from nobility. Ray's real identity is that the famous Iceblade Sorcerer, a hero who led the country to victory in a past war and is one of the 7 strongest sorcerers alive. Despite his legendary status, Ray wants nothing more than to live out an ordinary school life he never had. And then later on, he has to use his power. Now, I found it interesting because of the characters. I personally think. Ray's character, because he was like, the way the show was structured, they introduced Ray, and like a couple episodes in, he's getting his footing, Eventually, the show focuses on 2 characters, Amelia Rose and Rebecca. Now, this kind of telling of the story of season 1 of this show is kind of interesting to me because you take the time to develop your MC. Tons of scenes of flashbacks where he, was in the war and all that stuff. But you also are taking the time to focus on these 2 girls, which I found very intriguing. And basically, the lineup of characters, you have Ray White, you have, like I said, Amelia Rose, Elisa Griffith, she's a blue-haired elf girl, Rebecca Bradley, she later on she becomes a very focal point of the conclusion of the season. Then he's got his master, Ainsworth Lydia, um, Maria Bradley, which is Rebecca's sister, and a bunch of other characters. Also, there's this girl named Irene Algren. She's basically the rival of Amelia, right? Yeah, the rival of Amelia. Overall, I thought it was interesting, this show. I want to give it a high rating, but it is a fantasy show. And even though, listen, I know people are probably going to rate this bad. I thought it was a little bit better than what they're giving it on anime list. I really do. I think it deserves at least, in my opinion, a 7, 7.5. 8 might be pushing it because even though I like the concept, even though I like the character, and this is not the same. You can't say it's the same isekai fantasy trash because it's a different spin. When you're looking now at these shows, fantasy animes and isekai animes, you have to look at it at this. Every person, every mangaka, every light novelist who come out with stories and they adapt it to an anime, these people now have to really think. They really have to think about their stories. Because there's so many isekais and fantasy shows that you really have to examine it and say, okay, how can mine be above the rest? And this show, what does this guy do, this author? He's a kid, and he was a child soldier. A child soldier sorcerer. Who was involved in a war. He was victorious, but he went through some hardships and he lost somebody. And the people who were with him basically decided to have him go to school at this academy to learn to have his own life, to live like a student and not as a soldier, you know? But there's a lot of scenes with him with his muscles and shit. I thought that was interesting, funny, and the comedy's pretty good. It gets to you here and there. Some of the characters' names were kind of really crazy. Like this is one character. What's her name? Her name's not here. Shit, more characters. Let's see. Just want to find her name. This character's name just threw me off when I first started watching it, and I was like, huh? Here it is. Her name's Clarice Cleveland. And I'm like, huh? Cleveland? Like the Cleveland show? Very weird. But overall, I thought the presentation and I thought it was, I don't think, of all the shows I'm reviewing this season from the winter, as far as anime series reviews are concerned, and I said good things in the beginning about it during my first impressions, I think this one is like in the middle. I mean, it's not average. It's a little bit above average. So like I said, 7.5, 7 out of 10. I wouldn't go crazy. Even though the concept and what they're doing with the show is great, I still think you gotta really invent the wheel. However, the show I'm reviewing on Sunday, Saito, is not like this show. In fact, though I don't want to say this, that show I'm definitely going to get a better rating than this one. But then it's not to say this show is bad. It has its merits. It does. It has its merits. You have, and what I also like about this guy, Ray White, he's not your typical overpowered MC. He is, but he's more than that. He's going out of his way in the show to help train one of his classmates. That's kind of a spoiler. Spoiler warning there. I'm sorry. Well, it's not really a spoiler. I mean, yeah, but it's not a shocker when it happens. But regardless, he helps them. He helps his classmates. He goes out of his way. He knows what he's doing as far as a fighter is concerned and a sorcerer, but I don't consider this garbage. Because if it was garbage, I wouldn't freaking review it. There were, there were, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. There was one during the season that you know, kind of irked me in a way, but I would consider it garbage. Anyway, point being, good show. If you guys want to check it out, go ahead. But like I said, it's a 7.5 out of 10, in my opinion. Take it or leave it. I mean, I like the action. I thought, but I want to say, you know, the final battle was good, but it's left to be desired. You know, like I said, I don't want to bring up Saito again, but its final battle, yeah, is better than this one was. Just saying. But this has been Bankai 922. If you guys want to check it out, it's on Crunchyroll, and you can find it wherever you find it. Like I said, title is The Iceblade Sorcerer Shall Rule the World. But, yeah. Also, there's a twist with the villain at the end of the final episode. I'm not going to tell you what the twist is. It's like, okay, yeah, you did that. That's wonderful. What's going on here? But, take you guys later. I'm not going to do Onimai. I'll probably do it tomorrow night. You guys can look forward to that one. And then, like I said, we're at the final. Got 2 final episodes to review. Trigun and Spectra on Sunday. And then, like I said, Saito as well. So look forward to that. And then the last week, we got all the others that I need to review. Not a lot. It's the rest. I'll see you guys later. Peace.